represents is sort of cleansing all sort of basic physical obscurations, and we're just really connecting to this flawless principle, to this pure and stainless being. And we're saying, though your body is actually flawless, that we're drying it because we want to have this connection to a being who has gone beyond, to someone who has already had the two accumulations. So we're sort of making this offering of drying the body in the way that we're saying, okay, we're connecting to that same stainlessness. And then we're imagining that we're offering robes to any monk or Rinpoche or so on and so forth is considered very auspicious. And in these days and times, I often buy them red socks. So if you ever want to make an offering to a monk or a kempo or something like that, you can do something like that. It's sometimes you can't necessarily go and get them their zens or things like that. You can if you go to Nepal and then come home and give them to them. But you can buy them like red socks and red sweaters and these kinds of things. So it's the same kind of principle, okay? And so we're saying we're going to clothe you, and even though your body isn't sort of subject to the relative beings of hot and cold, that we're going to bathe you so that we can, we're going to bathe you, we're going to dry you, and we're going to offer you these robes, okay, to have a connection. And then we're going to begin to praise all of 8 of the medicine Buddhas, and we're going to praise the 8 bodhisattvas, the major bodhisattvas that are in attendance to this particular teaching, which is Manjushri and Vajrapani and Avalokiteshvara, Maitreya, and King Shagarbhada, Nirvana Vishu Kambaya, I can never say this one, Abhi Kensa Shagarbhaya, and Kuntum Zangbo, which is Samanta Badara. I can never say that one either. So these are all on your page 17. So we're imagining that we're really praising these 8 bodhisattvas that are in presence. And then from there, we begin to sort of praise the full medicine Buddha and the 16 bodhisattvas, the Indra, Brahma, all the Hindu gods, the 4 kings, the protectors, the 12 yakshas, and so forth. So we go through this sort of section where we're praising them for being present, and we're appreciating their presence within the mandala itself. Okay. All right. So we start here at Om Benza Watra Ahom, okay? Om Benza Watra Ahom, Hom Buddho Bendurya Yire Wodra, Drowa Semchen Neki Duknel Sel, Janchu Sempa Diki Kokin, Rinchen Yinzen Bala Chasel Tu, Senleg Rinda Sirje Nyanyen Ye, Shudra Kyamso Chulo Sakya Ku, Dampe Chugam Sempa Shudru So, Kunjo Rinchen Suma Chasel Tu, Satang Kedin Yonchen Chokyun Chu, Nujin Dikun Chini Yokdam Che, Lami Mengi Ritsin Draso So, Dusi Mengi Lala Chasel Tu. So we've praised our bodhisattvas that are present, and we've praised all of the worldly gods and the deities, the Hindu gods, the 12 yakshas, which are spirits. So, there are big disease creators within earth spirits, and this is like a big problem these days too. So there's a lot of, within the Tibetan medical text, we'll talk about illness being created from environmental factors of spirits, earth spirits and water spirits, and things being disturbed and then creating illness. And so in this way, this is another offering that we can do in praise for them to sort of appease them a little bit. And in that way, we're addressing them. And all of the rishis of medicine. So there's two different kinds of Medicine Buddha empowerments. There's the outer mandala, which many of you have received, and then there's an inner mandala as well. So the inner mandala really relates to these rishis and these medicine sages, and in developing the practice very deeply, then when one is reading the pulse, for example, and sort of stuck on something, then that's where something else comes through. So one of those medicine rishis, one of those wisdom beings might whisper in your ear and tell you what's really going on and so forth. And I've seen great teachers pull some pretty amazing things out, which I'm pretty sure is coming from the inner mandala. Okay? So here we begin to turn to the mantra resuscitation. And what we're imagining is that this hung in the heart, in and of itself, is surrounded by a mantra, the mantra of the Medicine Buddha, which I didn't bring my other text with me that has a picture of that. But we're imagining that through this light radiation from the heart out in all 10 directions, that the mantra is actually out facing you, and then it's going clockwise because it's a male deity, and it's just revolving around the heart like this, like a carousel, kind of, okay? So if that's like way too much, again, stay with the basic Medicine Buddha and the self as Medicine Buddha, okay? So we're doing the mantra as much as we possibly can. We'll do one Tanya together. And Tanya is the Tibetan word for mala. And the mantra, again, really represents the meaning of going beyond. Bekenze literally is the name of the Medicine Buddha, but it represents like the truth slayer, the one who's gone beyond, the one who's accumulated beyond relative and ultimate level, the ultimate physician, the king of physician, and that's what it's basically pointing to, okay? So we'll repeat that as much as possible, and then at the end we're going to imagine, once we finish the mantra, that we're going to dissolve everything back into that emptiness. First, we're going to dissolve it back into the Medicine Buddha who is in front of us. So then we sort of return to our own fleshy, organ, messy beings. And we're imagining that all coming back into the Medicine Buddha in front of us. And then we thank the Medicine Buddha for coming. We sort of make the ardent prayer that there may be auspicious connection, and that may all sickness and harmful spirits and suffering of all beings be free. And so then we're just sort of imagining the Medicine Buddha going back into their own places when we are doing what's called the fulfillment prayer, sort of the end. So we're imagining that the mandala itself is beginning to dissolve and return back to its own place. And one thing that is very helpful is to imagine when you have the Medicine Buddha dissolving, that the Medicine Buddha dissolves and comes back onto the top of your head. Or you can put the Medicine Buddha back into your own heart. Either way, it doesn't really matter. There's no rules, okay? It's all about what is most connective for you with the Medicine Buddha. So you can actually imagine the Medicine Buddha sort of dissolving back into the Eastern realm, and then sort of also remaining within you, or you can just imagine the whole thing sort of collapsing into the Medicine Buddha, and then the Medicine Buddha coming back into you, and sort of you return to your own self, okay? All right, so the Medicine Buddha mantra is on your page 19. Om Bekente Maha Bekente Raja Samogati Soha. 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 Teta 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 Om Bekente Maha Bekente Raja Samogati Soha.